we? We energize. We see potential.
We inspire students and families. And each other. We look up and lift.
We move. We are noisy and vibrant. We let our students do the talking.
And accept differing beliefs. We care. We build friendships, study groups, support networks, and strong relationships.
We honor diversity. We expect greatness.
Celebrate each other's achievement. Help one another. Close opportunity gaps.
We learn.
We ask why and question sources. Take notes.
Then take more notes.
Highlight and summarize our notes.
Learn to write and write to learn.
Collaborate and build on each other's ideas.
We explore in science and computer labs.
The world outside the classroom.
We solve problems we know.
We can do anything we set our minds to. We persist. We're not afraid of failure. We learn from it.
We can achieve and can show you proof.
We build thinkers. Confident.
Change agents.
We build futures.
We are AVID.
You are an AVID.
This is AVID.
AVID, the advancement via individual determination. Ladies and gentlemen, you are AVID. In fourth grade, we are focusing on building our college dreams via our individual determination. How can we go forward? By our own determination. AVID is a program that we will follow to help us make advancements. How do we advance becoming a better learner, becoming a better person? How can we get our future in the right direction? There are certain tools and skills that we can use. One of them that we are going to start with in fourth grade is called a DLIQ learning log. On this learning log, you will note, what did you do in class today? That's what the D stands for. L, what did you learn? I, what did you find interesting? Q, what questions do you have after today's lesson? Let's break this down a little bit. When you record, what did you do in class? Be specific and explain exactly what you did in detail. Don't be so specific that you give a minute-by-minute explanation, but make sure that I know exactly what you did in class after I read your D paragraph. In fourth grade, we are going to start with one sentence for our D. What did we do in one sentence? And this can work for any subject. L for learn. Explain exactly what you learned in class, saying, everything is not an option in the L paragraph. In every classroom, there is always an opportunity to learn. So tell me what you learned. How might you use the knowledge you learned in the future? Did your learning relate to something you have already learned in class? I, what did you find interesting about class today? Was it a new concept or that something finally made sense? Did you learn something that is applicable to your world? That means you can use it and apply it to your real life situations. Basically, what was it about today's lesson that you really thought was cool and interesting? Questions. After today's lesson, what questions do you have about what you learned? Did everything make sense? Do you need clarification on a topic in order to understand? If you think you understood the lesson, write a level 2 and 3 question that push your thinking further. I don't want you to focus on level 2 or 3 questions right now. I simply want to know, what questions do you have about what you learned? Did everything make sense? Try to come up with at least one question after every lesson. For math class at this time, we are going to use the DLIQ that you have available on your Schoology account. First, we're going to ask ourselves, what did I do? Ask yourself, what did I do today? In math, let's think about the last 2 or 3 days. What did we do? Think about it. How can we write this in a sentence? What did we do? You may pause the video for think time. I'm going to write, I explored different ways to estimate whole numbers. I'm also going to make my font a little larger so you can see it. What did I do? I explored different ways to estimate whole numbers. Now I can ask myself, what did I learn? That's where my I comes in. What did I learn? Just as a reminder, I'm using my T from the toolbox and I'm clicking anywhere on the area where I want to type. Back to our lesson. What did I learn? When we explored different ways to estimate whole numbers, what did you learn? I learned that I can round numbers and I can use front-end estimation to determine an estimate. I also learned that front-end estimation is using the first digit in my number and the other numbers become 0. What you learned is completely up to you. Your learning may be different. Maybe you learned how to use a place value chart with large numbers. Maybe you learned how to use close to estimation to make numbers easier to work with. Whatever you learn is perfect for you. This doesn't have to be the same as mine. In fact, I hope yours is different. We're going to move on to the I. What was interesting? And again, I have my text already. I'm just going to click anywhere in that area. What was interesting? I think that it is interesting. There are so many strategies to solve math problems. Whatever you think is interesting, completely up to you. So really pause and give yourself some think time. Now you can ask yourself, what questions do I still have? After having a lesson on place value and rounding and now estimates, what questions do you have? It's possible that you understand front-end estimation, you understand close to estimation, but maybe you don't know when to use the strategy. I don't know when to use close to estimation or front-end estimation. Think of something. Do not leave this blank. And notice that I am writing full sentences. I have at least one sentence for each section of my DLIQ. Using this DLIQ will really cause us to reflect, to remember what we learned, and to also apply it. Now it's your turn. Put on your thinking hat, and you can complete your DLIQ. Please submit it by the end